Today, my guest is a woman named Julz, the owner of the Julz Holistic Massage Studio. And while the work she does is healing and highly sought after, and the setting of her studio is beyond compare, that's not the reason I wanted to interview her about how she changes the world. The unique ways in which Julz changes the world is a bit harder to describe. It's less tangible than those of previous podcasts, but it is just as important. In fact, I would argue that what Julz does is the most important work that any of us can do. Julz approaches life as a person who sees the connection between all living things, and she lives and works from that awareness. That mindset, or heart set, if you will, gives her the unique ability to heal those who come to her, not only due to her knowledge of healing and skills, but also because she looks at the heart and soul of each client from her own heart. Every person who walks out of her studio leaves a little bit more loving, a little bit more healthy, and a lot more whole than they walked in. Now, Julz is part of a vital and thriving community of Keykocker, Belize, an island located off the coast of Belize, which is in Central America. I've been working from Belize these past few months and just returned to the U.S. And honestly, I had a difficult time pulling myself away from that island. Not because it's located in beautiful Caribbean, but because the community is made up from people like Julz. While she is a shining star, she's also representative of a loving, connected community where everyone takes care of everyone else, where racism and class warfare simply don't exist. And as I say in the podcast, Keykocker seems to be the embodiment of what author Charles Eisenstein calls the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. Now, most people watching this podcast will never visit Keykocker, but my intent is to share the fact that places like this do exist. There are places that still shine with people living in full community and where joy is the norm and where crime barely exists. It's a place where no one goes hungry, where the news does not consume, where phones are only used for necessity, where bikes and walking transport most people and cars aren't even allowed. And as we think about the future that we want to create, I think we would do well to consider the lessons that one can learn from Julz and the people of Keykocker, Belize. Now, before we dive into our conversation with Julz, a friendly reminder to please hit that subscribe button. And now let's journey together into this insightful exchange with Julz. Hello, Julz. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy to have you because I've been wanting to actually do this for a while because I met you quite a while. I met you, I think, a year and a half ago when I first came to Belize and then came back. So I've gotten to meet you a few times and always I thought, oh, I really want to talk to you on the podcast because you bring to the world this like peace and this healing that I think we're in need of. The world in general is in need of.
Thank you.
And I want to celebrate that and I want to share it with people. But then also I want to talk about life in Belize and particularly in this island of Keykocker where we find ourselves in particular, because to me, there's almost something magical or mystical about the society here and the people here. And honestly, I think what it is that it's how life used to be long ago everywhere.
Yes.
And I think, like, for example, my experience here has been that people, and I've been here several months now, people are smiling and happy and kind to one another, like almost all the time. It's not the exception, it's the rule. And I mean, it sounds not real, but it's like kids seem to be laughing. They're riding their bikes all over, everywhere. They're laughing, they're playing, they're happy. People on the street are happy. And I know that that's not the case for everybody all the time, but overall, there seems to be a sense of joy here. Is that like your experience living here as well?
The moment I got here, I felt at home. It was the kindness of people, like you said. I think it is a mental state of mind that the practice, maybe, I don't know. I don't understand it either, but I love it. They make you feel welcomed and at home.
Mm-hmm.
They're always smiling. They're always, go slow down. So I've learned to be like that also.
Well, perhaps, but also you are part of that. You know, that to me is who you are as a human. Like you came that way, so, or you're raised that way. So, yeah, I think that either you fit in perfectly or because it's not, I've also been on the interior of the country of Belize, which is in Central America, just below Mexico. For those who don't know, used to be British Honduras a long time ago.
Yes.
And but I've been on the mainland and I had that same experience. Now in the big city, not as much, but in the country, certainly it felt very much the same as it does here. So it does go beyond the isolation of this island. And it's, there's an author who I've met. His name is Charles Eisenstein. He's from the United States, and he often talks about the world, like the better world that our heart knows is possible. The more beautiful world that our heart knows is possible. And I've always kind of thought he was dreaming a little bit. But as I come here, I'm like, that's what this is. This is what he's describing, the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. And one time you said to me, I was talking because I'm always trying to talk about this with people, like try to understand what I could do in my life in Colorado, in the United States, to bring more of this there, to share this, because once you experience it, you don't want to leave it. And I'm leaving soon, and I'm having a lot of problem leaving because I understand that I'm living in what life could be. But what you said to me once is, we haven't lost our humanity. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. I think that we tend to forget that above all things and before anything, we have to remember that we're humans and that we have to treat everyone the same way we want to be treated. Some of us get so tied up and busy with our daily chores and daily stuff that we have to do that we forget to stop and be human. You know, people lose their humanity. I know that for some it is impossible to believe that, but it is. You get like a robotic, you just do this, do that, and you forget what you have in here, what you should give, what you want to receive. So that is what I believe.
Yeah. Well, you believe it and you live it. So I know how deeply you believe it. Well, you're a healer. Yeah.
I try to show others that we can be what we think we want to be. We have to project it and we have to show it. We just don't have to expect it. We have to show it in order to receive it. We have to give, receive. And if we give positivity, we will receive positivity. If we give love, we will receive love. And that is how it goes on and on and on.
Yeah. The only thing I would maybe push back against that you said is that if we think it, we can do it. And I would say more that our thinking is what gets in the way. That if we live from what we're feeling here in our hearts, rather than what we're thinking, that it becomes a natural, because the thinking part of it, I think, is like that person might be dangerous, or that person might be judging me, or that person might be annoying me, or whatever it is. but our heart always really knows that behind all of that is something deeper and richer and more human, to use your reference to humanity. Can you talk? I know that your life has not always been easy,
No.
at all, and it's still not easy. But that doesn't mean that our problems go away because you're living in a place like this. You still have rent to pay. You still have customers who are cranky or drunk or whatever. You know, things happen. Your electricity's not on. You know, we still have problems, but it somehow makes it all more enjoyable if you're bringing love to it. But growing up, you had a very difficult life. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Growing up, I learned to see it as something beautiful, as a lesson, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
My mom was a single mother of 5, and she struggled. We all did because,
I'm
sorry,
sorry. She's a single mother of 5 and what?
and she struggled.
Oh, struggled.
Yes, because not anyone accepts a person with 5 kids, yet alone single and a baby of 1 year. So we moved a lot, and we had to find something to do in order to survive. Sometimes the bigger ones, my mom, myself, and my sister, we had to not eat for 2 days so that the smaller ones can eat. Or sometimes we would share, like they would eat first and then we'll wait, and just like that. Depending on what we got, that's how we went through the moving.
Wow.
Like, we practically lived all around the country. Moving 3 a.m. in the morning, 3, 5, it doesn't matter. When my mom wake us up, she would say, "Get ready, we have to go."
Oh,
Doesn't matter what time. So we had to pick up everything and start walking because
no.
there weren't much buses, there weren't much trucks, pickup, there weren't much cars. So we had to walk until we found someone that would stop us and help us, take
Wow.
us in for a while. And then the same thing happened. We had to move, and it was like that for a very long time.
Now you have bought your mother a home
My mom has a home, thank God. And
because of you,
well,
because of, yeah.
help, yes, I've helped, and we still help. We all do. Something my mom taught us is that we have to help each other. You know, a lot of persons tell us that we're like a pack of hyenas. We bite ourselves against one another, but no one can touch us because then we all, all jump in and defend ourselves. But I think it is because we learned to protect ourselves. And she taught us that no matter what life brings to us or what we don't have, but we should learn to appreciate the little things. What we have, it doesn't matter what it is. We have to appreciate it. And that I have carried that with me for, all my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but I see too, so we should back up and talk about what you do now, because we haven't even mentioned that yet, which is you own the Julz Massage. I don't know the full name of the studio. What is the full title? What is the full name of it?
Julz Holistic Massage Studio.
Holistic, yeah. And it is holistic. You use poultices, and you were showing me yesterday how someone comes in with a sunburn, you have all these plants and you make a poultice and you relieve their sunburn, and you're just a healing holistic person. And I see it, like I've seen so many examples because I like to visit that your studio, and I've seen you take care of all the dogs that come by, all the all the children that come by selling anything. You buy something, and whether you need it or not. So this, it's just part of who you are, but it also, like I say, is part of the overall island. What I'm wondering is, what can you show us just like briefly? Because I think you're sitting now on your deck or your home in the studio. I don't know. You've got the camera. Can you just show us briefly
Yeah.
where you're sitting? Because it's a little bit of paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are right on top of the water.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. Go slow. Yeah. Go slow like you're in Belize or Kikaker. That's the theme of the island for people listening. It's called Go Slow. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So you're just showing us.
Yeah.
So, and yeah. Yeah. And it's very calming, and you can hear the wind a little bit, and you can hear the water like coming underneath where you're being massaged. It's a beautiful, beautiful setting. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So, yeah. I guess what I'd like to ask you about is, you see there's a lot of people who come to this island from all over the world, a lot from Europe, many from Europe, and many from the United States, although not as many as from Europe, some from South America, some from the mainland. Do you see that people who come and stay for a while, who maybe they come back and see you over time, do you see a change in them? Because you saw a change in me over the months that I've been here.
I do see a change. The type of person that I tend to get here, the type of person and that come constantly are the ones that most of the time they only come for 2-3 days and then they decide they want to stay longer. And they come, they look at our menu and they talk. All the persons are talking, they say, "Oh wow, this is completely different. And I like it here. It's very peaceful, or I feel a sense of calm or something." And I say, "Oh, really?" They say, "Yes." Some just want to look around, but the thing is that when they come here, they come because they want to feel, but they don't know yet. And when we're talking to them, we get into that and they start asking questions about how I help people, or what can I do to help people, and how did I survive COVID, or a whole lot of questions. And I always tell them, energy. If you want to change, the minute you step in here, I think you're looking for change. You're looking to heal. And I tell them, we do the chakras, we do our cleanses, we do sitting and smudging by donation. And the massages, aren't free, but the energy services are free, especially if I do them. If it's therapist doing them, then I have to ask for a little donation or something. But the minute I start talking about energy, they want to know, what is it? What is the aura? Can you see the aura? I say sometimes, and they say, "Get out of here, I don't believe you." I say sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
You need to be in your space, around your energy, and concentrated in order to really work on it and see the energy. So that's how it all starts. And then they end up buying massages, packages, or something, and then I end up working with them over and over, and then they don't want to leave.
Right, exactly. They don't want to leave because it feels so good to be there.
Yes. But I see a change when they leave. When they are about to leave, most of them come back to say bye. And when they come, they're scared because they're afraid that they can lose what they have achieved.
Oh my gosh, you're talking about me. Yeah. You are, because you told me Go ahead.
Sorry. So I always tell them, you can keep it up. You can do meditations. You can stay positive. You can listen to motivation and motivational speeches. You can work on your energy. You can do so many things positive in order to
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah. However, I would say that those things are all true. Um, but I would also love to encourage people to try to create a society that is more conducive to that. Because when you go back to the United States or to Europe or to many countries, you get back into a separation. And I think that's the thing that most of all, you know, I think that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but my belief is that we're all connected. And I haven't always thought that way, that everything is connected, that we are all one and we're all like
Yep.
in separate. And here it feels that way. Everyone hugs you. Dogs are happy. Dogs are even, you feel it everywhere, right? Like dogs are running in the street. They all have owners, but they run
Yes.
out and they play, and everyone else is like, oh my God, the dogs aren't on leashes. The kids are running wild. This place is crazy. But everyone's looking out for each other. And so there is a feeling here that everything is connected and people understand it and know it and haven't forgotten that. Whereas when we go back to societies where everybody's in their own little world and cubicle, then it is harder to remember, So, so I would also encourage everyone to like do all the things that you said, but also to try to change our own, where we go back to our families and to our societies, and to bring that sense of I need you and you need me, and yeah.
Yes, we're definitely when we are into this positive state, I think, and I strongly believe that we have to watch those around us. If we have people that are always negative, and I don't mean to discriminate, there are persons that maybe can weigh us down by being negative and complaining and all of that. We have to watch who we go around to, because if we surround ourselves with positivity, then we will stay positive.
Yeah.
But if we do negative stuff or we surround ourselves with negative people, then we attach everything. Our aura attaches, absorbs everything also. And unconsciously, we don't know. We do it unconsciously because it is who we are. And like you said, we're all connected. It is true. And we're connected to the trees, to everything. Well, that's only my belief. But if someone is sad and we hang around that person too much, then we are sad. If they're angry, we absorb it, and without realizing we're angry also. So we have to watch who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, that is true. I was going to say earlier that you told me when you first met me or saw me a few months ago that my aura was very gray and kind of dark, which made me really sad because I don't feel I feel like I'm usually a pretty happy person, and that concerned me. And then you said later that it was more rose colored, which is kind of interesting because that's exactly how it feels. That I feel rosier. I have a rosier outlook on life. So I don't know. It's I don't know. Do you think that people are on this island or in Kikaker are have a different set of values that you value things here differently than maybe what we value in more, I don't know, I'll say individualistic societies or even more materialistic, because people here are not wealthy. In fact, they're actually don't have much money. So it's not a money thing. So do you see that? I don't want to, I feel like I'm leading you to say something and I don't want to do that, but do you think that there are we value things differently in here as we do in the United States?
I think we value things differently, but it is the way we see things. Is how can I say? we value everything differently. It's just who we are. But
Mm-hmm.
the way how we see stuff is what causes a reaction. Because if kind of difficult to explain,
Mm.
I don't think that we value how can I say that we here in Chicago value things different than America. I think that we all have different values.
Okay, that helps.
But
Yeah.
I think it's the way of life
Mm-hmm.
here. That's why it's different. Plus,
Okay.
we all encourage each other. If you're
Mm-hmm.
running, someone will stop you on the street, literally, and will say, "Hey, lady, go slow." So I think that's an encouragement. We all
Oh,
do that. So we
interesting.
encourage ourselves, those anyone. If you're running, they'll tell you, "Hey, lady,
Cause
why are you hurrying? Or why you did
yeah,
go slow." And I think that is what impacts us to be who we are here because we
interesting.
encourage one another.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, tell me then, just a little bit, if you can, how did you survive through COVID? I mean, I know it's a long story. I know it was a hard story, and I don't want to bring you back to it, but I will say most of the world, um, did not turn on one another. Societies were all very supportive of one another. It wasn't people against each other. It was people helping each other. Even like it was like taking what you have here and putting it in the rest of society for a short while. So we're capable of it, and that is our deepest instinct, I believe. You
Yes,
know, but here another story altogether because tourism stopped. This is a very tourist dependent society here.
yes.
So what did you do? What happened?
Um, I had just opened my business, established
Mm,
Julz Holistic on this particular area. I opened December 1st, 2019, and I worked from December 1st, 2019 to March 20th when we got a letter that said encouraging us to all close. And I cried. For me, it was very emotional and sentimental because I worked really hard to be able to establish my business. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had
yeah.
just signed a contract with my landlord for the leasing of this area, and I cried. I sat right there looking inside, and I just cried, and after I cried, which I don't know for how long, I said, "Well, it is time to close because the lady said you have to close. You have to support one another. This community is all about supporting each other and helping each other. And she wanted us to close before COVID hit us.
I
Like,
see.
I mean, before we got a case. She
Right.
said, in order to protect us, she wants everything to lock down the island so that no one can come in, but people can get out if they want to. So I closed March 20th, and I went home so disappointed, still cried, went on with my day, starting to prepare everything, buying groceries. I didn't know what it was going to happen. I didn't know, but I knew that it was something huge. Knew it was something huge. So I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God. I prayed. That's what I did. I prayed. I went to sleep. After a while, I prayed. After praying, and I got a dream. Maybe it will be unbelievable for many the way it all happened, but it's true. I dreamt that I was there on my studio and I was looking out. At the time, I had a sandwich board that I always write positive quotes on, and I had it out there, and I dreamt that I was walking out, and I seeing all these people running around like they're going crazy. I'm yelling at them, "Hey, stop! Remember, it's a go slow island. Remember, it's a go slow." And people are pulling their hair and
Oh,
running like crazy, and they're telling me,
oh.
"Woman, you're crazy to stay. You're crazy to stay." And I said, "Stop." And when I turned that I saw another person coming. When I turned, saw my sandwich board, and it read donation-based charges. And it hit me right there in my dream. It hit me that this is what I need to do in
Oh my
order to
goodness.
survive.
Amazing. That
It
gave
gives
me
me
chills
chills.
too. Oh, actually, my whole body's covered in chills. So yeah, that's amazing.
So I woke up right there, like it shocked my brain because I said, I know what to do. I just don't know how to do it. I know what I am supposed to do because the day before when I was crying, I ranted a bit with God and I said, why would you push me to open my studio? Why would you
Yeah.
push me so hard? Why would you send all these people, Jules, you need to open a place. Jules, you need to open a place. Why would you give it to me only to take it away from me? And I I believe this is his way of responding to me, that he pushed me to do this in order to help people that I'm not going to say we're going crazy, but COVID did hit a lot of persons emotionally.
Hmm.
And after I had my dream and I woke up, I was thinking, how am I going to do this? We're on a lockdown. How am I going to do this donation-based massages? I cannot do it at my studio, but how am I going to do this? It just came to me, it said, WhatsApp, WhatsApp. I didn't know how to use WhatsApp a lot, but I decided that I would do a group chat and let everyone know that I'm going to do the donation business. So after I did the group, I invited everyone that I had in my contacts and I said, listen, I know that we are facing uncertain times and I know it's going to be challenging. I know that we all are going to need help. If you're deciding to stay, I'm going to stay as well. And if you can support in any way, I don't care what you give me. I can massage you. If you still feel like you need a massage, I will massage you. And you can give me groceries, fruit, whatever you want to give. I'm not asking for a payment. And it really did help me survive until 2021. People would come, we would actually sneak, we're on lockdown and they would message me, just want a massage, how am I going to do it? And I say, I'm going to open my door and we're going to look out for police and then I'll let you know. And just like that, we hid. I don't know how we did it, but we sneaked around
Wow.
in order to get people here and do the massages, or I go there and do the massages on the floor or on the beds. I figured it out and I did massages. I got groceries, the amount of groceries that I was able to pull bags of groceries and then give to people that I know were struggling. And that's how I survived COVID 2020 and months into 2021 also, donation based.
That is a beautiful story. So when you got groceries, you shared them with like your mother or your sisters or whoever, or nieces and friends also, or just strangers?
Yes.
Everyone. Yeah.
$25 and still bring a groceries of value. So this studio was full with groceries, all sorts of groceries. And there was only so much me and my dad could eat. because
Yeah.
well, I was single at the time, so it was only me
Yeah.
doing it, and I lost my apartment. I had to leave,
Mm,
so I was living here most of COVID.
wow. And it's a little place.
It's
It's a little room,
little place, but for
but a
me,
beautiful one.
yes, it was heaven because we couldn't
Yeah.
sleep. We couldn't be out of our four walls. We couldn't go swimming. We couldn't do anything.
You couldn't even go in the ocean? That's
No,
crazy.
it
That's
was a
crazy.
complete lockdown. So
Yeah.
I sneaked out when I needed it, and I went under my deck and I swam there. And when I heard the golf cart, I would go next to the seawall and hide until the
Oh,
police officers would pass, and then I would come up and
it's nuts. I mean, same
it,
with us. We couldn't go hiking in the mountains where no one's there. Why can't I go in the mountains and hike? Why can't you go in the ocean and swim? You know, maybe if
exact,
somebody had to rescue you or something, I don't know. That's probably what it's about. But yeah, it was a very difficult time. And is that kind of what happened across the island, is that people just bartered or traded services or food and things like that?
well, Kickstarter, well, everywhere around Belize, they did this groceries and support place. You know, people would go and get groceries from the Chinese store free of cost. But here
Free
in
of
Kickstarter,
charge.
yes.
Who is paying for them?
Well, the government was.
Oh, they were.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Did what was called food pantries. So
Oh,
it
good.
wasn't all Chinese or all supermarkets or grocery stores, but it was some of them, and they did bags of groceries that you could go, but you had to give down your name. You
Uh-huh.
have to you had to write down your name in order to be able to get the groceries. So food pantries all around Belize, but Pitaka came up with the brightest idea of soup kitchen. It was called the
Oh,
yes. So sports bar, BDS, different companies, different restaurants came together to
that's
create
great.
a soup kitchen, which it means that they were cooking and you had to do a line, cut a line
Okay.
in order to get a plate of food for
Yeah.
you and your kids or your husband
Oh,
or
that's
you.
good. I didn't know that. I didn't understand
Yes,
that there was any
yes.
help at all. So that makes it a little better. Well,
Everyone
Jules,
came together.
yeah, yeah, and survived, and you're
Yes,
stronger for it, right? Well,
yes.
I just have actually just kind of one last thing, and that's about. I mean, I don't even know if this is a question that you haven't answered, but and maybe you have answered it, but just like any advice that you would give somebody who maybe is struggling with their own sense of peace, and because you have really been through a lot as a child growing up and even as an adult. I know you're talking about COVID in a way that is, it was beautiful, but I know it was very hard also, and
It was.
scary and lonely and isolated. And when you live in a society like this and then you can't be part of it, it's even more so, probably more of a shock than it was for
Yes.
others. So, I mean, what did you draw on, and what do you tell other people about how to bring peace to their soul? Because you exude it. I don't know if it's all natural or if you work on it yourself.
I will definitely work at it. But like
Okay.
I said before, I'm a woman of faith. And for me, maybe it might sound crazy, but for me, God is everything. Being grateful every day. I have to practice. To
Okay.
say thanks every day. To start my day positive and say, just for today, I will be grateful, or just for today.
Mm,
Go day by day. Don't look at the days ahead
yeah,
of you. Go day by day or hour by hour and say, for now, I'm going to be positive, or I'm going to be grateful.
that's good. Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay. it's like a mantra, you know, you have to
Yeah.
feed it to your soul in order to receive it. You have to, because nobody else will do it for you. So I think for those that believe in God, to remember that He never abandons us and He's always with us and He never forsakes us. And to those that just believe in the universe or higher energy, well, whatever you believe in, concentrate on that and believe that it's going to be okay. But you have to feed it to yourself also.
You're a wise and beautiful soul.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so happy to know you, to be around your energy, and to be just, in your presence. I just think you're a wonderful human being, and spiritual being in a human body. So
We all are.
I know, but you know that you are, and that I think is the difference. So thank you, sending love, and carry on and heal the world.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.